Germany is located in Europe and touches 9 states. In the north, it also borders the North Sea and the Baltic Sea. The capital of Germany is Berlin. Germany is a social federal state, which is the basis for politics and administration. To understand Germany, it is therefore crucial to understand the underlying principle of federalism. Germany has a central government, the Federation, which is located in Berlin. The foundations of government of the Federal Republic of Germany are anchored in the German Constitution, the Basic Law. Germany is further divided into 16 federal states, of which 3 are city-states. Each federal state has its own constitution, elected parliament and government. This means that not only the federation itself, but also the federal states possess statehood and state authority. The 13 non-city states are divided into several administrative counties and county boroughs. These each have a county administration. At the local level of the administrative division are the rural and urban municipalities within the counties. Regarding all these divisions, German federalism is conceived as a federalism of cooperation. This means that the federation is responsible for the majority of legislation, while the federal states and their subdivisions bear most of the responsibility for implementing the laws. Subsidiarity in this context means that each political decision should be made on the lowest possible political level. Crucial components of the right of municipal self-government are, for example, financial autonomy and local or municipal planning autonomy, which gives the municipalities the right to structure their urban development within the framework of state spatial planning and regional planning. The principle of federalism is important for spatial development in Germany. On the one hand, the decentralized system takes into account regional characteristics. It favors the development of numerous economic and political centers. This results in more balanced spatial structures. On the other hand, the German system of comprehensive spatial planning itself is organized as a complex decentralized multi-level system in the federalism context. The highest level of the German planning system is the federal level, Bundesraumordnung. The Federal Spatial Planning Act, Raumordnungsgesetz, lays down the guiding vision for sustainable spatial development, which guides planning at all levels. It further determines that the federal government may also act as a planning agency itself. In addition, it determines spatial planning principles. These are general provisions relating to the organization of space, concerning especially the structures of settlements, open space and infrastructure. It further determines that the federal government may also act as a planning agency itself. These spatial planning principles are statutory, so they have to be taken into account throughout the country. Following the mutual feedback principle, different planning levels are obliged to adapt to these principles. On the intermediate planning level, the Federal Spatial Planning Act confers extensive spatial planning competencies onto the federal states. The Federal States Spatial Planning Acts concretize these competencies for both the federal state and for the regional level. The states substantiate the spatial planning principles from the federal level both sectorally and spatially in their spatial plans. The most important planning instrument at the federal state level is the Federal State Development Plan, Landesraumordnungsplan. It formulates conceptual and spatial objectives and strategies for spatial development in each state. Regional planning, Regionalplanung, is institutionalized very differently from state to state. Its task is to coordinate demands for land use and spatial development at the regional level. The central instrument of regional planning is the regional plan, Regionalplan. In accordance with the mutual feedback principle, it resolves land use conflicts and implements principles of sustainable spatial development. It also defines the regional objectives for spatial development. Also, integrated ideas concerning municipal development in regional development. The municipalities at the local planning level are responsible for the final decision on land use in their territory. This results in a system with several legally, organizationally, and conceptually independent planning levels. However, the planning levels are vertically linked to each other via the mutual feedback principle and the requirements for mutual adaptation between the levels. The multi-level system of comprehensive spatial planning is shaped by three influencing factors. At first, a formal participation procedure is a component of every formal planning process, not only for the bodies responsible for public interest, but also for a broadly defined public. Second, spatial planning interacts closely with spatially relevant sectoral policies and also with informal spatial development horizontally. Third, the European Union has no competence of its own for binding comprehensive spatial planning. The influence of the EU lies in the fact that it influences spatial development through sectoral competencies and in particular through the structural funds.